All right, boy, we are moving right along here. We talked Bulls today, Dwayne Wade and their incompetence once again. I talked New York Yankees. I talked Detroit Tigers. Now I'm going to move on to the MLB All-Star Game, and I'm just going to throw some quick thoughts on there. I don't really want to get too in-depth about it, but really the main conversation is, well, the All-Star Game means something now in the MLB, and what the commissioner wants to do is keep it relevant. Because this is really the only All-Star Game in professional sports that kind of has implications to the biggest prize of them all, because they want the All-Star Game to be more competitive. I mean, you look at the Pro Bowl, that's a complete joke. I think they should just eliminate that. Just send them to Hawaii, give them a vacation, and let them get paid for it. That's all. That's pretty much what it is anyway. And in the NBA All-Star Game, they're combining for like almost 400 points. Like one team almost scored 200 this year. So what is going on there? But the MLB, I don't know your thoughts on it, your opinion. I think it's an interesting angle to have the All-Star Game mean something, home field advantage for the winner, the division winner in the World Series. But then that means there's implications to this. Now, the current system is you vote for players to start the All-Star Game. And I'll get to who's starting in a minute because my Chicago Cubs are nicely represented. And so does this influence? Yes, absolutely it has an influence to it, because really the fan vote is just, it depends on the market, but it's I hate it when people call it a popularity contest because that's such a simple, vague rationale for it. But it's kind of true. You look at what the Royals fan base did last season and now what the Chicago Cubs fan base are doing this year. Now, I can make an argument for every starter. And I think that for the most part, the fans nailed it. But if the game means so much, shouldn't you give the manager more power? And I know they want to keep the fans involved, and you can't really take that away from this whole process. But if I'm the manager, I'm Terry Collins and Ned Yost, I want the best players on my team who I think will win this very meaningful game, straight up. Now, does that consist of all 9 Royals or all 9 Mets? Hey, if you think that'll help you win, then do it. But that it just totally takes away from the fan experience, and people are going to be outraged, be like, oh, what the hell is this? I get it. But at the same time, you have to look at that dynamic, because this has so much meaning to the end game of the entire season, what teams are trying to work for. You have bottom feeders having representation in the All-Star Game. Now, the Chicago Cubs, when they were the worst team in baseball in 2012 and 2013, it was 2012, they still had an opportunity to represent players. And does that put you in the best situation to win if you're the manager of the AL or NL? I don't know. Right? Do I want guys from the Cincinnati Reds? I know they have Jay Bruce, Joey Votto. Okay, you know what I'm getting at. The All-Star Game is so important, and you want to have the right guys in the right spots. Now, I'm going to move on to the rosters now, because this is an interesting conversation. I want to make one thing clear. I think the American League is just going to run away with this game. If you look at their lineup, and I think this goes to the fan vote, and I give them credit because they pretty much nailed every single one. Sal Perez, Eric Hosmer, Jose Altuve, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Mike Trout, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, and David Ortiz. That's your starting lineup for the AL. Hell yeah, David Ortiz, by the way, for having a career season when you announce that you want to retire. This guy is the MVP of the league right now. He is doing absolutely amazing things. Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr., 2 young, impressive outfielders who have a lot of pop. If you look at the American League, young players are taking over. Trout, Machado, and it seems like Trout's been in the league for years. But he's still young. And Manny Machado too. I love where the MLB is going, and I love the amount of talent that's coming up, and that they're ready to play at such a young age and produce. Also, I look at the reserves, and I have to mention one name because, well, a couple. Because one of them wasn't even in contention for the starting spot in terms of position. Francisco Lindor was named an AL reserve, and he is so well-deserving. I will say it time and time again, I think he's the best shortstop in baseball. That's just my opinion. Xander Bogaerts is coming on immensely. This guy has really taken steps forward. He's honestly in the conversation as well. but I would take Lindor. But that's okay. I'm not complaining. I think they got it right. Mark Trumbull, he's unbelievable. What a signing by the Baltimore Orioles. He is leading the league in home runs, and he is an all-star. I think the American League this season is very tough. They have really impressive starters and really dominant relievers like Zach Britton, Alex Colom of the Rays as well, Kelvin Herrera of the Royals, Craig Kimbrell, Andrew Miller. Man, who's going to start? Who's going to start in the All-Star game for the AL? Is it going to be Danny Salazar? Is it going to be Cole Hamels? I'm going to guess it's Chris Sale. You could say Stephen Wright, but imagine this. Chris Sale comes out, throws 98 for maybe an inning or two. If it's a clean inning, I would keep him in for a second. But if not, take him out. Because if you're the White Sox, that's all you want from him, right? Yeah, it's great to start, but come on. Yeah, we got realistic expectations here with our team. And then you bring in Stephen Wright, who's throwing all these knuckleballs and the catcher can't catch him. That would be interesting. I think that would give the NL fits. I think the fans did very well in the. I don't really have much gripe in the American League, but on the NL side, there are some names that are kind of repetitive, and you probably heard enough of them. Anthony Rizzo, Ben Zobrist, Addison Russell, and Chris Bryant make up the NL starting infield with Buster Posey catching. Now, this is up for debate. Maybe does Ben Zobrist deserve to start at second base? Probably not, because Daniel Murphy is having a fantastic season. He's technically putting up better numbers offensively than Zobrist, but at the same time, hey, fans have a voice, and Zobrist was absolutely phenomenal in the first half. Kind of came down to earth a little bit. He's still producing for the Chicago Cubs. One of the main producers, and he will be for the rest of the season. But the start he went on, very deserving. Addison Russell. And this is an interesting conversation as well. Because is Corey Seager the best shortstop in the American League and in the National League? I'm sorry. I would probably say yes. Corey Seager, another young player coming on and producing like it's his job, like it's nothing, is a reserve behind Russell. But Addison Russell, I can make an argument. He does things to the point where he is an all-star. I can't take that away from him. Addison Russell is absolutely an all-star. He does a lot of good things for your team. Maybe he shouldn't be the NL starter, but the Cubs fans are out in full force this year. So I can't complain, especially since I'm a Cub fan. Chris Bryant, absolutely. You start that man at third base. Absolutely. You could say Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman in the game, and I would tend to agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. But hell yeah. Look at Chris Bryant, what he's doing. He is one of the most productive players in this lineup. I would say he's 1A, and then Rizzo 1B, Zobrist 1C. So no gripes there. Dexter Fowler starting in the outfield. He's the last starter for the Cubs. Cubs sent seven All-Stars this season, including Lester Arrieta. Dexter Fowler's hurt. I'm sure he'll be replaced with somebody, so look out for that. But overall, the American League right now, I think they're just going to win again. Guys, like, come on. National League, let's go. Win some freaking All-Star games. I'm getting sick of this. The American League is dominating over the last decade. It's kind of getting tiresome. Their pitching staff, the American, in terms of the National League, I like. Very much so. Especially since Arrieta and Lester are involved. I'm getting a little too Cubs happy. I'm sorry. I apologize for all those listening. I look at a guy like Will Myers, Carlos Gonzalez, congratulations, Odubel Herrera. I think he's come a long way. Marcell Ozuna as well. And Adam Duvall. Adam Duvall is going to participate, by the way, in the Home Run Derby contest. And I'll end the conversation with the Home Run Derby because it's kind of interesting as well. But who's going to start for the NL? Is it going to be Arrieta, Bumgarner, Cueto, Fernandez, Syndergaard? Syndergaard's got bone chips in his elbow. That's not good at all. I'd probably guess it'd be Bumgarner. Overall, I don't really have much to gripe about. The only thing is, if you're going to make the game mean as much as it does, I think you have to give more control to the manager and who he wants on his team to win it for his league. To put that much precedent on the game, or the All-Star game, it'll make them try harder. True. Very true. I mean, look, there are flaws, but at the same time, All-Star game, this is the most interesting All-Star game in professional sports, period. The NHL was pretty cool, but it doesn't have the same meaning as the Midsummer Classic. Come on now. But let's move on to the Home Run Derby. The Home Run Derby is pretty cool this year. Last year, they had that new tournament-style standings. They didn't want to take up all your time. They put them on a clock. Chris Bourbon's choking on his own spit. Oh, God, help me. And so you got guys like Adam Duvall. Adam Duvall is going to be in the home run derby, guys. But who else is going to be participating besides Adam Duvall? Because I know Adam Duvall is going to steal the show. But you got Todd Frazier, the reigning home run derby champ for the Chicago White Sox, Carlos Gonzalez, Will Myers, Corey Seager, Giancarlo Stanton, who finally is putting it together for the Miami Marlins, Mark Trumbull, the home run leader, and Robbie Cano. Don't you know, Robbie Cano, he's also having a fantastic season. So this should be a pretty entertaining home run derby. With the new format, I think it's a little bit more tolerable than it was in years past because it's not the same. We're not going to see Josh Hamilton belt 20-something homers in a single round. It's not going to happen anymore, but it's cool. I know there were talks about Matty Bumgarner wanting to do it, and as the Giants, I would say hell no. I mean, it would be a great show. Having a pitchers-only home run derby, that would kind of be interesting, and I'm sure Bumgarner would win it. For major league hitters, people talk about how it influences their swing in the second half. It had a lot of influence on Bobby Abreu, I remember. That's just one example. But for a pitcher, that's a totally different conversation. You don't want your starter to, tear an oblique. Oh my gosh, get injured. That's the whole thing. You don't want to see your guy get injured. Maybe we eventually see a pitcher's home run derby sometime in the future, but right now, I think we just got to live with it. Adam Duvall, baby, he's my pick. He's my pick to win it all. Absolutely. Going Duvall till I die, I guess. But all right, so that was a fun-filled show, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know I was kind of down on the Bulls, and all you Bulls fans are probably pissed off at me. That's okay. I understand. But it's just my opinion, and I had a lot of opinions today. I hope you guys stay tuned behind the pen because we're doing some great stuff here at MVP. You can go to mostvaluablepodcast.com. Check out my article that I wrote about Dwayne Wade and the Chicago Bulls. If you want it in writing, it'll be there, so check it out. Also, check out all the content that we have for you on Most Valuable Podcast. Go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, Most Valuable Podcast, become a Patreon if you could. Please do. It'll be in the description below. Donate $1 or $2. We will get so much better for you, specifically you, Patreons. We love you. We appreciate all the time. We value your time. We hope to entertain you, and I hope this show Behind the Pen was entertaining. I'm Rankin, 906 on Twitter. You can follow us at Most Valuable Pod. But until next week, we will see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.